Today I drive a Mirage.
This looks like a job for...
Look out!
Mitsubishi Mirage. I'm assuming this is a 2016. I like the paint color. This time I did not do the review on the car right when I got in it. You know, as I'm driving. I drove it for 2 hours before commenting. It's kind of growing on me. First impression is I don't like it. It's a 3-cylinder car. The Geo Metro is back apparently. Look at this. That is a 3-cylinder engine. A little dirty, but that's just dust. This car has 10,000 miles on it. And that engine has no power. It doesn't even have pow. So it's, I think, look at the intake on that. That is something else. I'm almost halfway looking for a tube that goes from the engine compartment to the passenger compartment where you put the nuts for the squirrels. There's got to be a squirrel cage in here somewhere that's powering this thing. Never drove a 3-cylinder car before, and this drives like you would expect a 3-cylinder car to drive. It's very anemic, no power, although it goes 80 miles an hour and gets down the road. Just takes a long time. I think 0 to 60 time for this thing is measured in minutes, not seconds. Alright, just for giggles, I'm going to see how long this thing takes to get up to 60 miles an hour from a standing start. Going to get my stopwatch. Alright. And here we go. Okay, I turned off the AC. Believe it or not, that makes a difference in this thing. Okay, 16 seconds. The interior is sparse. There is no armrest. Bad. No armrest. Everything's plastic, which I guess is to be expected. I don't know how much this car costs, but it better be really cheap, because it is. This car doesn't even have cruise control, which is a big no-no for me. And check out the speedo. 140. I doubt it. I don't know if they're trying to make it look sporty or what. Here is the environmental control section. Doesn't even have Bluetooth. Gotta use the auxiliary. I don't like that. Here's something you don't see. Slide control. When's the last time you saw one of those in a modern car? Normally you don't. You can even hear what it's doing in the dash when you move that. That's like 1970s, 80s. And no Bluetooth, so right away the car's missing a tooth. And it is a big pain in the butt with this handle, brake handle, being right here. Because the cup holders, there's 2 up here, there's 1 in the back. And you want it right here. Obviously, because otherwise you got to reach forward, you got to reach back. What a pain. And really, I could see needing this if this was a stick shift, not an automatic. And what's wrong with putting it down there for your foot to, you know, foot brake instead of hand? Another problem with this, something you guys might not know about. Gas cap. The door. That does not open. And if you've never had a car, and I'm sure some of you millennials have never had a car like this, where there's a door release inside, this happens to be here, and they put a picture of a fuel pump on it, which there are no fuel pumps that look like that anymore. You're not going to know. They could have at least made this white or put fuel door on it, something, because I could see renting this car and then going and not knowing that that is there, and it's really subdued, honestly. The only reason why I know it was there because I've had Hondas and whatnot that have had those. So you could, you know, modern cars do have this where you push it and it opens, but apparently you cannot do that with this, so you have to know that there's a lever inside. Driving it after 2 hours, not too bad. It's anemic, no cruise control. That is so annoying. It does have power windows, power locks. The seat is as generic as you can get. It's cloth, obviously. No kind of lumbar support. I'm surprised they recline and have headrests, honestly. Generic headliner. No console of any kind up here. No shifter paddles, which is not a big deal for me, but it seems like every stinking car out there has had it. So, in comparing this to the Nissan Sentra, which in one of my other videos I called Basic Transportation, that's like a Cadillac compared to this. This thing is basic transportation. I may look up and see how much this thing costs. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing had drum brakes on the front with this. I kind of doubt it does, but I would expect to see drum brakes all the way around. Maybe torsion bar suspension instead of struts. I know it's got struts, but this car is in that class of vehicle, and it is would I buy it? No. Heck no. I just realized that this car has a turbo on the engine. If you look at this button here, right here, on your 3-cylinder car, you press that button and it really makes a difference. Go Mitsubishi. When I first got in this car, I could not believe the engine noise. This thing is loud, and it's got some screwy transmission that almost feels like you've got a standard with a slipping clutch. That's the best way I can describe it. And it's loud. You hear everything going on in the engine. It's really weird and uncharacteristic for a car of this nature. You would think with as deep as the dash is, they'd have enough soundproofing in there to keep that noise out. Although it could be something they value engineered out of it to keep the price down. Oh, another thing, the suspension is really wishy-washy on it. Really wishy-washy. The steering's very twitchy, so you just move it a little bit, the thing feels like it's going to roll over. I don't know how well you'd be able to tell this, but just on a straight road, given a little bit of steering input, how much this thing actually rolls, it's way more than it ought to be. Way more than any car I've driven in this century anyway. This is reminiscent of cars in the 70s, like the big Fords and big Chevys with shock absorbers all the way around instead of struts. too much, and cannot get out of its own way. I would not pull out in front of anybody. I don't do that anyway, but if you want in a normal car that's got some power and you gotta get out there because there's so much traffic and then get down the road quickly, you're not doing that in this car. I think anemic would be an upgrade for describing the power this car has. It's probably got, I would say, 70 or 80 horsepower at the most, with I will say it does get 40, I have on there 40.4 miles per gallon on the way up here, which is not bad. But the Nissan Sentra was like at 34. So for 6 more miles per gallon, you're going to drive a car like this? I don't think so. I don't care how much that adds up to over time. I got to get out of my own way. Even a Mini has 4 cylinders. Why couldn't they put 4 in this one? I hope this helps you out, and that you know what you're getting into when you are thinking about buying a car and then this is on your list. I wouldn't buy it, and I don't know how many mechanics are going to be able to work on a 3-cylinder car nowadays, as well as how much parts are, because it's a Mitsubishi and they're not the best quality, and I'm pretty certain that these engines are throwaway. That's why these cars better be real cheap, like maybe 12 grand brand new. I could see doing that, but I wouldn't own this car. I like to check out these historical markers. Pretty interesting. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, tell all your friends,